For years, I thrived in the high-pressure business world, but the workaholic life finally caught up with me. I was 35, very overweight, in chronic pain with severe mobility issues, terrible diet, no exercise. My health was a complete wreck. Then I went to a gentle yoga class and felt truly relaxed. The stress just melted away. I went from a size 18 to a size 8. I stopped getting sick. Pain disappeared. I learned to open my heart and I felt happy for the first time in years. So I said goodbye to the business world and started teaching. Yoga doesn't have to be strenuous. The easiest movements can trigger major release of chronic symptoms no matter your age.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
I'm Deborah Devine. Welcome to Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems. And yes, as you just saw, I had a lot of problems before discovering gentle yoga. My weight, smoking, lack of exercise were all contributing to respiratory issues. It was getting hard to breathe. And Zoomers are at an elevated risk of developing respiratory problems because of the buildup of bad habits over time. And heart disease also can impact our breathing as well. I planned a simple yoga series that can optimize your ability to get more oxygen throughout the body. Even if you have respiratory challenges, don't worry. This practice has been designed for people who aren't necessarily in great shape. We'll start with a relaxing warm-up on our backs to open the chest and the ribs. Then we'll be standing and creating more space in the lungs and opening up our air intake passageways. The poses are so easy that you might wonder how effective they can be. But do the whole series. Or if you're busy, just do one or two, and you'll be breathing easier. Let's start the healing. Joining me today, Sheila, Susan, and John. And all of us are going to appreciate all of the extra breath that we'll be cultivating in the practice. Our first warm-up pose is going to be elevated chest shavasana. So I'd like to invite Susan to come down and we'll get started. We've got a bolster or a blanket that's folded up. Maybe a towel could be folded up as well. And we're going to be elevating the chest to maximize our lung capacity in breathing. As you can see, I'm just creating a little bit of an accordion fold for Susan here, and then we can sit right in front of our support. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll sit right in front of the bolster or the blanket, and then a long, slow, smooth in-breath, lengthening the front line of the chest. And then a long, slow, smooth, and complete out-breath is going to take us back. And if you'd like to bend your knees, if you've got back trouble, that might be a good idea. So we've got the head supported and the neck supported and the spine supported, and this is creating a wonderful effect of the ribs opening up like a clamshell, revealing the pearl of the heart. As soon as you come down here, if you're feeling any discomfort in your low back, bend your knees, take your hips away from the bottom of the ribs, and then just let your legs come long one at a time. We'll let ourselves ground. We take our glasses off and just place them beside our mat and have them on standby. And we'll begin to let the out-breaths give us a sensation of widening out and flattening out and creating more contact with the earth. Close the eyes and let go of the jaws. Allow yourself to become wider. You can take the upper leg bones and rotate them inwardly to create a little bit more space in the low back. And then just allow the legs to flop out. Now we'll take the hands behind the back of the neck and we'll lengthen the back of the neck. Lengthening the back of the neck and allowing yourself to rest the head down. Now we'll take the hands onto the belly, below the navel. And we'll just watch how the breath is moving here. Then the next time an out-breath comes along, follow the breath down to the end of the out-breath, pressing the fingers in at the end of the out-breath. And then an in-breath comes, and we feel the belly start to expand. And then we'll move our hands up around the sides of the ribs, and just begin to feel what happens on the out-breath. You can feel the ribs closing down and moving in. And feeling the in-breath, moving the ribs out and up like the handles on a pail. And then we'll bring our hands up to the top of the chest, around the collarbones. And then we'll just watch what the breath is doing here. And then we'll bring the hands back down to the low belly. And we'll let the out-breath be complete here. And then the in-breath comes, filling up the low belly. This is a wonderful way to connect with the breath. As soon as we bring awareness to the breath, it starts to change. The diaphragm is the main breathing muscle. It moves down, creating a vacuum in the lungs. And when we have tension in the belly, if we've got tension in the diaphragm, it gets stuck, and we end up breathing into the higher parts of the lungs. So by moving awareness into what is happening with our breathing functions, we can begin to access what the diaphragm is doing as a muscle. We can bring some awareness to the outside edges of the diaphragm, the circumference of the diaphragm. Please continue to enjoy this pranayama breathing exercise, and we'll be back in just a few moments to work more with respiratory issues.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems. For more yoga, go to onetv.ca/healing-yoga. Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hi, I'm Susan. I've been dealing with respiratory issues for about the past 12 years in the form of asthma, bronchitis, and there was a period of time where I had pneumonia 3 times within 4 years. But since I've been doing yoga, I find now that the bronchitis is virtually non-existent. I haven't had pneumonia, so I therefore don't require any medication. And I was using an inhaler that I no longer require. And all of those issues have seemingly gone away since I've been doing yoga.
Welcome back. We've been working with yoga poses and breath techniques to help our respiratory system. Susan, it's so great that you've had success working with yoga to improve your breathing. What are the favorite moves that you enjoy?
I really like to open my chest just by clasping my hands behind my back, opening up the shoulders, bringing the shoulder blades together and just pulling the hands away from the back.
That's a fantastic move. And it's a little bit more of an active type of pose compared to what we were just doing, elevating our chest. It's the same idea, and I love that too. So now we're going to be coming into Tadasana to create more space in the lungs. So we'll come to the center of the mat, and we will take our heels out and our toes in. And then we're going to come back on the heels and ground through the back line of the body. Allow yourself to breathe down the back line on the out breath, and allow the in breath to lift everything on the front part of the body. Bringing the heads of the arm bones back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, drawing them down towards the waist. An external rotation of the upper arm bones will create a little bit more space on the front of the chest. And then we take an in-breath and lift the arms out and up, reaching for the sky, exhaling, hands to heart space. Inhaling and reaching out and up, these wonderful sun breaths. Exhaling, hands to heart. We're opening up a lot of space in the ribs here. Inhaling, out and up. And then when we get to the top of the in-breath, let the hands stay together. And then we ground on the left side and extend the spine nice and long, lifting the ribs off of the hips, lean over to the right. We're accessing a lot of lung tissue that we don't normally breathe into. In daily life, we usually spend a lot more of our breathing up here in the tops of the lungs. So by coming into this side bend, we're starting to open up new territory. We're creating a little bit more awareness deep into the bottom parts of the lungs where there's a higher concentration of the air sacs that exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide. This is a wonderfully purifying practice right now. At the end of the next in-breath, feel yourself filling up. Maybe pause there for a moment, and then exhale, arms come back to center, hands come to heart space. Wonderful. Now we're going to take the belt and take a few ups and overs. So we start off with the belt, and it doesn't have to be a special belt. It can be bathrobe tie or your husband's old tie. We start off with the hands together close. And then as we come up, we begin to create more space between the hands, giving ourselves a little bit more rope. And then we come over on the out breath. And then we begin again. Inhaling, lifting, reaching, grounding through the heels and lifting the ribs away from the hips, exhaling down the back. Coming up and over a few times is going to create some wonderful openness through the front of the chest, openness through the armpits, openness through the ribs as well. The next time we come up and over, we're going to find the sweet spot, that spot where you really feel like you need to spend a little bit of time. It'll be a different spot every day. Might be a different spot in the morning compared to the afternoon, but just be here and begin to break the belt. Breaking the belt, using your arm strength, bringing your shoulders together and moving them down towards the waist. Lengthen the back of the neck. Bring the head back into alignment with the back line of the body and breathe. Now, this is the area of the heart chakra, and the element associated with the heart chakra is the element of air. In addition to pranavayu, we're also dealing with udana-vayu, which is this upward flowing energy that governs air through the throat, hiccups and things like that. So we're using our in-breath to lengthen the front of the spine, the front of the neck, as well as the back of the neck. We're exhaling completely, moving energy down the back line, bringing the shoulder blades together and moving them towards the waist. Wonderful. Let's let go of the belt and shake the arms out. And then we'll take another up and over, finding the sweet spot. Remember to stay out of the pain zone and in the comfort/discomfort zone. We're accessing a lot of breath here. We're bringing oxygen down into the deepest parts of the lungs here. If you take all of the air sacs and flatten them out, you would have a tennis court. So just think about that. When you're breathing in, think about breathing in through a tennis court. And please continue to enjoy these ups and overs or any other variations of the warm-ups that we've done. And we'll be back in a few moments to work more deeply into the lungs.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems. For more yoga, go to onetv.ca/healing-yoga. Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Welcome back. Today's practice, we're focusing on poses and breath practices to improve our respiratory system. So Sheila, I wanted to ask you about the challenges that you have with respiration. When does that happen?
Actually, it often happens after I get a cold that I'll go into this asthmatic phase, and it could last up to 2 months.
Wow, interesting. This is a wonderful practice to prevent colds as well. We're bringing a lot of oxygen into our system. We're optimizing our oxygen levels, and we're alkalizing the body. And when we become less acidic and more alkaline, our immune system gets a wonderful boost as well. So let's move into the next pose. We're going to be going into lunges and doing variations with the arms. So we come down onto our hands and knees. If you've got a chair in front of you, that would work beautifully. Or you can just use a bolster, pillow, or you can come to the floor. Now the right foot is coming forward and the left leg is staying back. We're trying to get the shin vertical on the front leg. And then we're just going to bring awareness down to the heel of the front foot. We're going to press down into that heel. And then we go to the back leg and we begin to energize the back leg. Perhaps you'd like to move your back leg back just a little bit. You can bring yourself down here. Yes. And allow this opening of the front of the hip to happen. Take a few breaths deep into the muscle on the front of the spine that goes underneath all of the belly organs, connecting on the inner part of the upper leg bone. This is the psoas muscle. There's one on the left and one on the right, and they're attached to the roots of the diaphragm. When we are sitting, that muscle is contracted, and the roots of the diaphragm are also contracting. So by opening up the front of the hip, we're actually releasing the diaphragm, and you may be experiencing a yawn come over you, or a sigh, or a deeper breath. Don't squelch that instinct. Your body's looking for more oxygen, so go for these big, deep breaths. Go for these yawns, and really enjoy how you're taking a lot more oxygen into your body. Now, we'll come onto the opposite side. We'll switch legs, left leg forward, right leg back, pressing down into the heel of the front foot and energizing the back leg. Think about how you could be lengthening the psoas and creating more space between the top of the hip and the bottom of the ribs. Allow the shoulder blades to come down the back and toward the heart. We're lengthening the front of the spine now as well. Let the ribs open out and up. Feel the belly expanding. Feel the ribs expanding. Now, on the out breath, ground. Ground the legs. We're working with apana vayu, this downward flowing energy. We're moving old energy out so that we can make room and space for fresh prana, the fresh prana vayu to come up. Now we can take our arms, and if you feel ambitious, maybe let your hands rest on the knee. Inhaling, reaching the pinky fingers up to the sky, bringing the heads of the arm bones back, and broadening through the collarbones. There's an external rotation of the upper arm bones, so the palms could be facing back behind you if that feels good, or they could just be facing into the middle. Let the shoulder blades come down the back and knit together behind the heart. Open the sternum, broaden the collarbones, and then bring the hands back to heart center in prayer pose. And then we'll bring our hands back to our support, and then we'll come back with the left leg. Now we'll be taking some side bends. We're going to open up some more space in between the ribs and the hips. So we'll take this chair, we'll come around, take a bolster, and the bolster will be resting widthwise on the mat. So coming into a side bend with either a rolled up blanket or a rolled up towel or a yoga bolster, we bring our support right up to the side hip. This is going to give us an opportunity to really expand on the bottom part of the body. So we take a long, slow, smooth in-breath, lengthening on the front part of the body, exhaling and draping yourself over top of the bolster or the towel, and then letting the bottom knee stay bent, the top leg is long, resting your head on the bottom arm and taking your top arm up and over. Long, slow, smooth in-breath, and long, slow, smooth, and complete out-breath. Let's engage dorsiflexion, heels strong, toes spread wide apart. And we're pulling the leg out of the hip socket here. We're pulling the hip away from the bottom of the ribs. We're pulling the arm out of the shoulder socket. So you've got this wonderful expansion that's happening on the top plane here, creating a lot of space between the bottom of the ribs and the top of the hips. Take 5 long, slow, smooth, and complete in and out breaths deep into all of the muscles and connective tissue that are stretching. Let the out breaths be complete and feel the belly come to the front spine. Pause there for a moment. Enjoy that quiet, that stillness that's there. And then feel the in-breath nourishing every cell of the body. Wonderful. Now, while we go to break, we'll be taking the opposite side, and when we come back, we'll be getting ready for our cool down.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems. For more yoga, go to onetv.ca/healing-yoga. Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Salt therapy is one way to counteract respiratory conditions. Nasal irrigation and saltwater gargling are well-known remedies, but Himalayan salt pipes are also being touted as a way to treat asthma, allergies, and sinus issues.
Welcome back. This practice has been focused on enhancing our breathing capacity. You should be feeling now that you have a lot more lung volume, and hopefully you've been able to take a wonderful couple of yawns, hopefully a couple of wonderful deep breaths, and you've been able to release some tension all through the front line of the body, especially the front spine, especially the side ribs. So we're going to be working with a cool down that's going to open things up a little bit more around the heart and the neck. We've elevated ourselves with these blankets. We created these accordion fold blankets in one direction supporting the spine, and then we've rolled up another blanket to support the area underneath the shoulder blades. For women, this is the bra line. So we're going to come forward with the legs, and we're going to bring our hindquarters right up to the support so we can have some support for the low back. And then we bring the hands to the side. We're going to use the upper body strength to help us come down. A long, slow, smooth in-breath lengthens the front part of the body, and then a long, slow, smooth out-breath allows us to rest back. Take the arms out to the sides, out in a T formation if you like, and we'll breathe. Long, slow, smooth, and complete in and out breaths, allowing the ribs to open out and up. And then just let the breath go here for a few moments, and let's engage the idea of ujjayi. Now, the ujjayi breath is a very slight constriction at the back of the throat, and the out breath and the in breath both happen through the nostrils. Now, see if you can use the imagery of snapping a searchlight on the front of the in-breath, and then following that in-breath and seeing where it goes. It's expanding into new territory, colonizing new areas of the lungs, new areas within the body. Pausing at the end of the complete out-breath is a wonderful practice to tone the diaphragm and all of the muscles of the intercostals in between the ribs. After being in this wonderful back bend and opening the front part of the chest, opening up the heart, opening up the 4th chakra, opening up the 5th chakra, opening up all of the air channels, you should feel very rested, very relaxed. So please continue to enjoy Shavasana for the next 15 minutes. And we'll see you again next time on Healing Yoga.